I had this newborn baby. I didn't feel like I could breathe, and I definitely couldn't get out of this mess. And so I would stay up oftentimes all night long cleaning up the house so that I could at least have a blank canvas to start the morning with. And then the kids would wake up and I would be exhausted. Then it was trashed again within hours.
This is Burning Brightly, a podcast for Christian moms who are feeling called to build a business and share their light with the world. I'm Bonnie Wiscombe, a life coach, mom, and entrepreneur. And I'm honored to be your guide as you face this business building adventure full of highs, lows, and everything in between. This is where we help each other find the courage to shine. Welcome back, everybody. I have a really special guest today. My good friend Rachelle Heywood is here to talk to us about stuff. Yes, all the junk and all the clutter that is overwhelming our lives. She is a decluttering coach. And so Rochelle, give us a quick intro to you and tell us a little bit more about why you chose to pick this niche of coaching.
Hey, so first of all, thank you for having me here today. I'm excited to be on your podcast. So I am Rachelle Heywood. I am a certified life coach, but more importantly, I am the mom of 6 kids. And the reason I picked this niche is because 6 kids comes with a lot of stuff. As not as much stuff as your 10 kids, I'm sure, but it comes with a lot of stuff. And I picked this because I used to be that mom, right? The mom that was drowning in stuff. Back in 2015, I had just had my 5th baby. And I just remember feeling like, how did I get here? This is not the mom I wanted to be. I wanted to be a mom that was present with her kids, that was, down on the floor playing with them, that was doing arts and crafts time and just being very present, right? And at the time, that was not the mom that I was. Like, I felt like I was constantly picking up after my kids instead of being with them. Like, they would play and have fun, and I would just be right behind them cleaning up all of the havoc that followed. And so, like, they would ask to do something like play with Play-Doh, and it was an immediate no, because I knew that would just create another mess that I would have to clean up. And so I became the no mom, and that wasn't the mom I wanted to be. And so I just remember being completely overwhelmed. I had this newborn baby. I didn't feel like I could breathe, and I definitely couldn't get out of this mess. And so oftentimes I would put my kids to bed at night, and I just needed to feel peace again. And so I would stay up oftentimes all night long cleaning up the house so that I could at least have a blank canvas to start the morning with. And then the kids would wake up and I would be exhausted. So probably not acting as the best mom. But at least I had some peace. But then it was trashed again within hours. And it wasn't that my kids were like terrors either. They were just normal kids that happened to wear clothes and like to play with toys and eat snacks. And they were just normal kids. But have you heard that saying that cleaning with kids is like brushing your teeth while eating Oreos?
Yeah.
That is exactly what it felt like. I would clean and clean and clean, and then they would destroy. Mm-hmm. And anyway, I just felt like this is my life now, and it was just debilitating. And then I heard somebody talk about how she was experiencing something very similar. But instead of staying up all night cleaning, she stayed up all night one night getting rid of the toys. She went into her kids' toy room and decluttered most of the toys. She said 90% of the toys. And she braced herself for the next morning when the kids were going to wake up and run down into the playroom and be so angry. But she just had had enough and didn't know what else to do. That was the only thing she could think to do. And so the next morning, the kids ran down to the playroom and she braced herself, and she was shocked that they weren't mad. They were almost relieved. They were able to play. They played nicer with each other. They played longer because they weren't overstimulated. And she was like, whoa, if that's what happens in the playroom, what would happen if I did that to the rest of the house? And so she did. She went through and she decluttered the rest of the house, and everyone in their family felt more peace. Everyone enjoyed being home and together. And there was so much more connection in her family. And when I heard this, I was like, that's it. That is my ticket out of this mess. That's what I'm going to do. And so I did. I decluttered my whole house. It took time, but I did declutter my whole house, and it felt so good. I felt peace again. I felt calm. I was able to do more fun things with my kids, and I loved it. But then within the course of a year, it all was back. My house was bursting at the seams with stuff again, and I could not believe it. I was beside myself. It's like, how do I get back to that place, a year ago when I was in control of the stuff, not the stuff was in control of me. And so I was like, well, I guess I just do it again. So I did it again. I decluttered my whole house, and I again found peace. And then again, longer than the year this time, it did take a little bit longer. It all eventually did come back. And I was just like, is this how it is? Is this how it is to be a mom? Like, you just bring all the stuff in, you get rid of all of it, and then it comes back, and you just do that for the rest of your life. And I was like, I guess so. But
yeah,
then
or you become a hoarder.
Or you become a hoarder. Yes. Or you just learn to live in the mess and the overwhelm. But I did not want to live that way. And so, anyway, but it was around this time that I found life coaching. And I realized that that was the biggest piece of the puzzle that I was missing, was the mental and emotional aspect of our stuff, and that we need to incorporate as we declutter. And once I figured that out, it was a game changer, because stuff is always going to be coming and going in and out of our homes. But when you're able to release the mental and emotional blocks or ties that you have to your stuff, it doesn't have to all come back.
Okay, I love that so much. I'm so glad that you covered both, that you said that, yes, you knew the actions were going to give you results, and they did for a short period of time, but the actions couldn't maintain that level of peace until you dealt with the thoughts that were keeping them there. That's so good. Okay, we're going to get into that more in just a second. But first, I want to ask you kind of a trick question here. And that is, as a coach, since we know and teach our clients how to manage their minds, why is it necessary to get rid of the stuff? Can't you just manage your mind around it?
You could. But here's what I found, and what I have heard from all of my clients actually, is that having the stuff in the room, first of all, we don't want to have to manage our minds all the time, 24/7. That is exhausting, right? And every time that your eyes rest on something, whether you recognize it or not, your brain is having to process it, right? And so if your brain is going all the time, you're exhausted, right? But also, holding on to the object, for a lot of people, a lot of moms, it just feels like extra noise, right? It's always giving you a signal. It's always giving you, like, the dishes are there. I mean, we're always going to have dishes, and we can talk about that in a second. But if they're there on the counter, they're telling you, wash me, or the clean laundry that's on the couch, fold me. And the kids are yelling, feed me. And we don't want to ignore the kids, and we're not going to get rid of the kids. But just, the toys, pick me up, just the constant inundation of noise and thoughts is what creates the overwhelm. And so when we can get rid of some of that excess, there's just less coming into our minds constantly. We have a blank space. It's a place where our mind our eyes and our mind can rest.
Yeah, that's so good. I remember my coach mentor saying something like, of course you can manage your mind around anything, but if you can change the circumstances first, do that, right?
For
If there's a
sure,
toxic
yes.
person in your life and you can just remove them from your life, right? And still maintain your values, right? Great. If you want the person in your life, but they're making you crazy, then you manage your mind. So yeah, so what you're saying is all this excess stuff is not necessary. You can actually change the circumstances so that it becomes so much easier on your brain. And you get to use your brain energy to manage your thoughts around your kids being psychos instead of the stuff everywhere. Okay, so good. Okay, so if you're watching this video, if you're listening to the podcast, go find the video on YouTube, because you will see that my office background is a little bit different. And that is courtesy of Rochelle, because we work together to declutter my office. And so a lot of this is coming from personal experience, but I want Rochelle to tell the audience as well. What do you see as one of the biggest issues when you start to work with people, like, or biggest surprise that comes up when people start to declutter? Because I'm assuming they think you're just like any declutterer, right? You're just going to come in, tell them what to get rid of, and they're like, hunky dory, everything's good. So what's the biggest obstacle you see? Is it the thought work? Is it something else?
Yeah. So first of all, I will never, ever, ever tell anyone what to get rid of. Because that is personal preference, right? The stuff that I keep, someone else might not keep. Actually, I know someone else wouldn't keep. Like a minimalist would be like, that's got to go.
Mhm.
But the biggest challenge that I see with all of my clients is, and with people in general, we don't realize how attached we are to our stuff. Like we think that it's just things in our home, but then the minute that we go to try and get rid of it, there's a pull there. There's always a reason. It always comes down to the same blocks it has for every single one of my clients. We're afraid of being wasteful. We worry that we might need it someday. It's a part of who we were, and we don't want to get rid of that person, even though it doesn't fit into our current lifestyle. Or it represents who we hope to become someday, and we're afraid that if we get rid of this item, that we'll never become her. Or it was a gift from someone we love, and getting rid of it feels like we're just casting them aside as if they don't matter. And so those blocks right there really tend to trip people up. And so as I coach them, and those things matter, right? I'm never going to say, oh, it's fine, just get rid of it. Like you have a reason for having those attachments to your things. And so we just look at that, we examine it, and we can maybe loosen the grip that you have on that. And we recognize that that connection is there. And we can decide if we want to continue to have that connection, or if it even needs to be attached to that item, or if it can just remain a part of us, like, who we used to be as a crafter, or, whatever hobby you used to have. Is it really in that item, or has it become a part of you? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. I wish we had time for you to break down every one of those because I know everybody listening is like, yep, yep, yep. I can think of a thing that somebody gave me I can't get rid of because it represents the person. I can think of something I can't get rid of because I don't want to be wasteful, and on and on. But what I'd love for you to just speak a little bit more about is that identity piece, because that's what came up for me a ton when we were working on my office, because I had inventory from past businesses here. I had craft supplies, so many things that represented a part of who I was. And I did not acknowledge that I couldn't get rid of them because it was who I was, right? Or who I wanted to be in the future, right? So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Like, why does that keep happening, and how do we push through it?
Yeah, because like say you used to be a quilter, right? And you loved that about yourself. You loved to make those beautiful quilts. You could give them as gifts, as an expression of love. And it was just a big piece of who you were and what you did. And then you went into a season of life where quilting just wasn't realistic for you right then. You hope that it will be again someday, but right now in this season of life, it just isn't. Like you don't have the time or the energy, or you may not even want to do it anymore, right? But you've held on to, say, the fabric and all of the sewing materials that you need. So that every time that you see that, you can look back on her and remember fondly, as you should, because it was a big part of you, that time that you spent cultivating that talent and the people that you were able to give expressions of love to. And it brings back those memories. But in the meantime, that fabric is taking away from who you are currently wanting to be, because it is in your space. And every time you see it, you do have to process, oh, I wish I was, or I should do something with that fabric, or I should be still quilting, or you just have a lot of thoughts about the fabric. And it also is taking the space in whatever room you have it in, that takes away from the life that you're currently living, the things that you currently want to do. And so when we can acknowledge that, yeah, that was an important part of my life and who I was, but that's not who I want to be today, and recognize that that's not in the fabric, we can release that and make space for who we want to be right now and the things we want to be achieving and accomplishing today.
Oh, that's so good. And that brings up 2 points to me. Number one, it feels like as we get older, we're more and more prone to this, right? Because we've lived so many different versions of our life. We live the crafty life and the parenting life and maybe the retiree life and all these different phases. And if we hold on to souvenirs or supplies from all these different identities or pieces of us, we just end up living in like a dump because there's all this stuff. And to be able to focus on what is in my capacity right now, like I'm a doer. I love to try things, right? Oh, I want to try this and I want to try that and I want to try this. So my house, especially my office, had become kind of this dumping ground of portions of past versions of me, right? And even like, let's say, because mine was sewing, part of mine was sewing too. And I was noticing that, okay, even if I don't want to say no to sewing forever, right now I'm not doing much of it. And so to keep all the supplies out and keep them all here and keep them all in eyesight, it wasn't making me want to sew. It was making me feel bad about not sewing. And so I decided to keep my machines. I decided to get rid of almost everything else. And all of a sudden, I'm actually more likely to sew. I'm like, maybe I'll pull that out one of these days and do it. But I don't have to look at it all the time. That was another big aha that we that I noticed when we first started working together. Is one of the first things you asked me is pick something in the room that is like the loudest, right? Like you're saying is speaking to you. And what is it saying? And it was a stack of alterations that I had on my sewing table. And it was saying, why haven't you gotten to me yet? You're kind of a failure. And I
Yeah.
had no idea that it was saying that. Like all I had to do was like go in my brain and speak it out loud. And I realized that is toxic. I don't want my stuff telling me I'm a failure. That's messed up. But it was. And at the time I decided, okay, there's two things I'm willing to alter in that pile. The rest is going to Goodwill and we're done. And it was so freeing. So anyway, I just had to share my own personal experience with that because it is a big thing, letting go of who you want to be. And you're not letting go of who you want to be, but rather the stuff that you think is going to make you that person.
Absolutely. And having an abundant mindset and knowing that you can get rid of this, say, fabric today. And if you decide to sew again in the future, it's okay. Like you'll be able to get more fabric. And
Well,
probably
Rochelle,
fabric
all the
you
Joann
like.
fabrics just shut down. So now what am I supposed to do?
This is true. You're going to have to let me know.
I'm going to have to shop online. Oh, whatever. Continue.
Yeah. But we will always find a way, right? We will always
Yeah.
make it work.
Yeah. Okay, so here's my other question for you. I know there are probably people listening that are like, I know how to declutter. I've done it before. I just need to make myself do it. So does everybody need the life coaching aspect of it? Or are some of us just too lazy to do what we think we know we should be doing?
So that really depends on the person because I think some people are naturally just tidier than others. I don't tend to be that person naturally, right? And so it takes a lot more thought work for me to really release something and, to detach myself from my stuff. But no, like everyone can start somewhere. And I think a lot of times we have this all or nothing mindset that if I don't have a whole weekend away from my kids and my job and whatever, it is that you do, then I can't, like, now's not the time. I can't start now. And that is so far from the truth. That's how you get your time back is just 15 minutes a day. If you can't do 15 minutes, do 5. And the very first thing you want to do is just take an empty box, grab an Amazon box, set it somewhere that is accessible so that when you do come across things that you no longer want or need, you can easily just put it in the box and not have to think about it again. Because a lot of times if we don't have a box, we'll set it aside thinking we're going to donate it. And then we come across it again later and we have to process it twice. Just have a box set up. And just as you go about your day, the things that no longer serve you, just plop them in the box. But then when things do get trickier, like that, I talk about how there's 3 layers of clutter, right? The top layer, you can easily just like throw out. It doesn't affect you. It's stuff that you don't need and you don't want in your life, like a Happy Meal toy, right? That stuff is easy to get rid of. But then the second layer, it does get a little bit trickier because it's beliefs that we have. Like it's bad to be wasteful. It's bad to throw things away. If I throw this away, then, it makes me a bad person because, I'm adding to the landfill or whatever. And those things we can, you can get coaching through, but you might not need to, right? Because those are things that you can work through on your own. But there's a third layer of clutter that if we don't get to that layer, that's when the clutter does eventually all come back because we have to really get to the root of it and why it is such a problem. Like we talked about, like with identity or a gift from someone or sentimental items, like grandma gave this to me. Those a lot of times do require coaching because we have to take the time to sit back and look at it and really be honest with ourselves about why we are holding on so tightly to this item and this belief and this emotion.
Yeah. I feel like even you just saying that would probably help some people acknowledge, oh, the gift is not the person. If I decide to
Yes.
donate grandma's quilt, that doesn't mean I'm donating grandma. It
Yeah,
doesn't
but
mean,
we feel like it does.
yeah,
It feels
it
like we're
totally
just
does.
brushing grandma aside, like it didn't even
Mhm,
matter that she gave me this, and
mhm,
that's just so far from the truth.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so to wrap up, I would love to hear from you why decluttering actually matters. You mentioned that it kind of brought you some peace from the chaos, but like, what is the deep reason that this matters more than just because it gives me a pretty space?
Because at the end of the day, I think we all want to have space to connect with our families and ourselves and God. And when you are surrounded by noise, when you are constantly inundated by stuff, it is so much harder to do.
Mm. Yeah, that's so good. I remember reading a minimalist book years and years ago, and the guy said his big aha came when he took another Saturday to clean out the garage when his son wanted to throw a ball away around. And he was like, oh, I got limited Saturdays with this kid. And instead I'm just sorting my crap again and deciding what stays and what goes. And that, oh, it actually matters so much more than just a place for your eye to rest, although that's very important. I'm noticing so important,
Yes.
but that our time and our energy it's given to us for the things that matter, right? And in our society of abundance and plenty and ease of getting things, it becomes very, very difficult. Like instead of like our ancestors had to work so hard to get the things they needed, now we have to work so hard to curate the things that are needed because we have so much
That
that
is
it's
so
not,
true.
you know.
That is so, so true. And none of us want to spend our lives managing stuff. We want to spend our lives connecting with our loved ones
Totally,
and
totally.
making a difference.
Well, it's so good to hear that there is an end in sight. Like that it isn't just a never-ending juggling game. Like juggle the stuff in and juggle it out and constantly be doing that. So thank you so much for all your advice and tips. I love it so much. Tell the audience where they can find you if they want to learn more and help find some of that peace in their own home.
So right now you can most easily find me on Instagram at Rachelle Heywood Coaching, and I would love to connect with you there. And then I also have a free guide that gives you my 4 simple strategies to calm the clutter. It just is 4 easy steps, takes 30 minutes just to get you started. Because a lot of times that's the hardest part is just taking that first step. And so we can include that link on the show notes.
Yeah, perfect. I will put that in there. Yeah, and I think what you're saying is like when things do feel overwhelming, sometimes just having that one quick win can make you realize, oh, not only is it possible, but it feels so good, right? Just to have that one little corner or that one little counter cleared off and acknowledge that, okay, I can make progress and this can be lasting change. So good.
Exactly. Yep.
Oh, so good. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
I'm going to continue sharing all my befores and afters on my Instagram stories because you guys are going to die. Like if you haven't seen them, in fact, did you save them to your highlights, Rochelle?
Yes, I have them in my
Okay,
highlight.
go to Rochelle's Instagram and go look at some of the befores and afters, including my office. You guys are gonna die. It was a dump in here, and it's so
Because
much
Bonnie's
better.
amazing.
All right, thank you so much, Rochelle. Good having you.
Hey, thank you.
Are you ready to start or grow your dream business? Click the link in the show notes to download the free starter guide to building a business or to schedule a free coaching call with me. And if you loved this episode, don't forget to leave a review and share it with a friend who might be feeling the call to burn a little brighter.